Everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we are looking at the return of the Linkin Park with a new singer, Emily Armstrong, and a couple different switch outs of band members. But I'd say probably 3 members stayed out of 5 or 6 or something like that. But new version of Linkin Park, and it is called From Zero. And apparently this is referencing Mike Shinoda's old band. I'm not sure if Chester was in that band, but it was called Zero. And he makes a little joke in the intro where he's talking to Emily about it, and she's like, "Oh, that's what your band was." And then it cuts off and it starts the song. So that was kind of funny. I enjoyed that. So the first song, The Empty Machine, I'm going to be honest with you, I did not like this song when it came out, and still don't like it. I'm sorry. I think the guitars sound great, and the build up to the chorus is pretty hype, and the whole band sounds great. But the chorus in this particular song just does not hit for me. And I put in my notes, maybe the rest of the album will be more exciting. And honestly, I'm not sure why they chose this song to be the lead single. And I definitely feel that way now since I listened to the entire album. Why was this song the lead single? Why did they perform it in front of everybody? I know those Linkin Park fans enjoyed it anyway because they're huge Linkin Park fans. But this is the song you open up with. All right. Next song, Cut the Bridge. I was kind of shocked because I didn't feel any feelings about it. It just kind of sounded like the Empty Machine, actually. I do think Emily's singing is good in this song, and Mike sounds good as well. But the song is just, I don't know, it's pretty basic sounding. And I will say it didn't have that edge to it that Linkin Park usually has, but I know in their later albums with Chester, they didn't have much edge, and it was kind of more like softer rock. So maybe this would fit into those later albums sound, but nothing about the song grabbed me at all. I don't even remember what it was about, honestly. And I think the chorus was very weak and just repetitive. But it does get better from here because Heavy as the Crown was the second single they came out with. And in my opinion, this should have been the first single and maybe the only single. And then maybe one other one later could have been the second single. But Heavy as the Crown is a whole lot better than the first 2 songs. And yeah, I just said in my notes, this song is immediately leagues better than the first 2. Lyrics are a lot better. There's a sense of like realness and urgency in the singing. Like it kind of felt like the first 2 songs. I know they were probably singing their hearts out in the studio, but for whatever reason, those first 2 songs just didn't come off like with any weight. But Heavy as the Crown does. And I would say it also helps that the song sounds like it's straight from Meteora. So of course that would help. And the whole band sounds like it should in the song, and great. And her long scream is great as well. I saw some online discussion about that, as one does. And people were comparing her scream to Chester's scream in one of their other songs where he does a pretty long scream. And I'll say that this scream's pretty good. And it's pretty long as well. So I'd say give it a shot if you haven't heard it. It's good. And yeah, so the last part of the song is definitely the best part, where it gets heavier, and it's a pitch change. I probably didn't say that right, but it changes the speed of the song, and it just sounds really cool. And yeah, I would say also at the end of the song, there's a little bit of keyboards, like at the end of a lot of songs on Hybrid Theory. So that was a nice little nod to their older sound. And then the song after that, Over Each Other, has a cool sounding drum part. And her regular singing is pretty solid, Emily's. and so is Mike's with the backing vocals. And this song is, again, also very much better than the first two, The Emptiness Machine and Cut the Bridge. And yeah, at the very end of the song in particular, though, he says, "Get your screamy pants on" to Emily. I thought that was a little, I don't know, on the nose and cringe. Like, why did that have to be at the end of the song? Like, somebody's just going to shuffle their music and then listen to this song over each other, which is pretty good, by the way. And then here, "Put your screamy pants on." And then they're just going to be like, oh, try to skip the song. But that leads into Casualty, where she does a pretty gnarly screams. And she does get her screamy pants on immediately. And Mike's yelling vocals are actually pretty good. You can tell he's kind of a little straining his voice, but his yelling / screaming vocals are pretty good. I don't know if Mike Shinoda can scream any harder than that. If he can, I'd like to hear it, because his yelling vocals were actually pretty decent. And immediately the guitars are probably the best on the album so far. And there's also some cool DJing, DJ scratching parts, and new metal-y kind of stuff. It would be cool if the song had more of that. And I'll just go ahead and say, for the rest of this album, I would have liked more like disc scratches, or however you interpolate that into the album. I think that would have helped. But yeah, more of that, please. And then the next song, Overflow, has Mike at the beginning with rap parts, but it's mostly like synth drums, and Emily sings a little bit as well, and they kind of share vocals. And there's a little bit of guitar at the end, but in my opinion, Overflow is just kind of a big interlude with singing. So I don't really feel either way about Overflow. It's just kind of there. And I'd actually say The Emptiness Machine is better than Overflow. So there's one song that Emptiness Machine is better than. Two-Faced is back to nu metal, thank God. And I actually said in my notes, the guitars for this song is actually better than Casualty's guitars. So they're leveling up as the album goes, which is good. And yeah, it beats out Casualty with the guitars. Very much sounds like Hybrid Theory, but different enough. And because I know that's what some people were worried about with this, they're trying to sound like their old selves. But sometimes, I don't know, you have to do that to kind of find where your sound is. And in my opinion, it sounds different enough. It's not like it's trying to be Hybrid Theory. It's just trying to be heavy Linkin Park. So that's good. And Mike Shinoda does some pretty good rapping on this song as well. And the chorus is strong. And there's even more breakdowns. And it also has DJ scratches, which is great. And I put the Two-Faced is probably my favorite song on the album. And I think I'll go ahead and say, yes, it is. I had to look at the list real quick to see if I changed my mind. But no, Two-Faced is definitely my favorite song. Stained definitely has more of a pop sound and a cool Mike Shinoda rapping section, of course. And it's basically a better Overflow. Like, if you wanted that style of Linkin Park with all the synths and the slow singing and the lack of guitars, I'd say Stained is the better version of Overflow. And Emily switching vocals with Mike, basically trading back and forth vocals, is just awesome to hear. It's cool. And the guitars come in again, like later, like in the latter half. So pretty decent song. And I forgot what the acronym means. I gave you everything. I give you everything I have. I think that's it. I give you everything I have. Is nu metal again, yay. And a lot more singing from Emily in this one. The chorus is also pretty strong. And Emily and Mike singing together is probably the best stuff on the album, just in general, for this song. And in this song in particular, there's a pretty great breakdown at the end. So definitely go listen to that. And the closer, Good Things Go, starts with clean guitars, and then the singing once again is very solid with both of them. And I very much like, I think I did mention this earlier, the Mike's backing vocals. When it's Emily's part, you can kind of hear Mike's backing vocals throughout this album, and I think that really adds to it. And I'm sure he did that in previous albums, but you can obviously tell this with a female singer and Mike in the background. There's a lot more dissonance and difference, so it's easier to pick them out. So I think it sounds very good. And if they're going to make more stuff with her, they should definitely, of course, give her her own songs where she's by herself, but also do that harmonizing with Mike whenever they can, because it sounds great. And the heavier guitars come in later for this song again. Pretty good lyrics as well, I'd say. Pretty good lyrics, I'd say. Over probably better than half of the album lyric-wise. And it's, I would say, a sort of strong ending. I think they could have ended a little stronger, but pretty good. So the songs I would come back to for this album are Heavy as the Crown, Over Each Other, number 2, in no particular order. Casualty, number 3. Two-Faced, number 4. And I Give You Everything I Have, number 5. Those would be my top 5. And the grade I'm going to give this album, I'm going to give it, I think I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10, kind of like an average score. That's kind of like my baseline, it's all right kind of review. But yeah, 7 out of 10. I was expecting actually to give it a lot lower score because, in my opinion, the Emptiness Machine was just not a good showcase of how this kind of a new band was going to gel together. But after hearing the rest of these songs, I'm pretty impressed. It sounds great. And with all the talk about who the vocalist was going to be, I'll just tell you guys what my picks were going to be. My pick was, I had several, was going to be the Sum 41 guy that got knocked out quick. That was pretty funny how that happened. Matt Skiba from Alkaline Trio and Blink-182. If you haven't seen the video where he sings a Linkin Park song at the tribute show for Chester, go watch it. Matt Skiba crushes it. And so is the Sum 41 guy, by the way. And I forgot her name, but I think it's a girl from Stand Atlantic or something like that. She did a great job singing a Linkin Park song one time for a radio show, I think. So I think those people and maybe a couple other people that I'm forgetting would have been good picks, but I think there's already a connection there with Emily and Mike. So that's probably why she got picked. But I would say overall, this is a pretty interesting outing for the band, Linkin Park. And it is good to see them back. And let me know what you guys think of this album. And I will see you guys later.